Hello, everybody. The camera always seems so close up to my face. I'm making sure you see me. I see I have one person watching so far. Oh, I got 5. Here they come. How is everyone tonight? Let me know how you guys are doing. If you're ready to paint. Starting to see comments come in. That's great. Everybody's saying hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I see Virginia, Houston. Donna says, looking forward to this one for a while. Awesome. I know, I've had this one posted for quite a while. I try to give everybody 3 to 4 weeks to see each event, get your supplies ready, and all that anticipation. My canvas is 11 by 14, but you can have a different size if you want. Just depending if it's smaller or bigger, you'll just be either quicker than me or you're going to be a little bit slower than me. So, but all sizes are welcome. I'm going to go over all the supplies before I actually start. So if there's anything you're missing, there's going to be a few minutes to run and get those things. So I'll just wait till a few more people pop on and then I will show everyone what we're going to be using tonight. Allie says, putting it in my new she shed. Awesome. That's perfect. It's definitely going to be a nice painting. If you do yoga, you can hang it up where you do yoga and kind of get, in the feel and the mood of when you're ready to do your yoga. I love yoga. I have not done yoga in quite a while because I've just been crazy busy with homeschooling my kids. But yoga is definitely my go-to for relaxing and just kind of it's all in one. You get some exercise, you stretch your muscles, you feel at peace, and kind of brings you back to life a bit. So yoga is definitely one of my favorite exercises to do. I'm not a huge fan of doing things that are cardio. Simply because I am always out of breath. So I don't know if I have like induced asthma or something, but ever since I was a kid, I would always be running and like all my friends would be running and like 2 seconds later I was like, couldn't breathe. So yoga is definitely my go-to for at least feeling like I've accomplished, exercise on top of doing something for my mind, which is really, really, really healthy. So Ting says, I teach yoga. That's awesome. That's like, that would honestly be, if I wasn't a painter and I didn't love art so much, I really think I would find a love, the yoga would replace that and I would want to teach people because it's just like art is healing and relaxing. I find yoga exactly the same. So it would be my second choice for sure. If I didn't love art so much. So we got lots of people here from Phoenix and Florida and Trinidad. Awesome. Indiana. Jacob says our dog does yoga, no joke. I've seen those videos where like somebody's doing yoga and their pets are doing it with them. My dog just lays all over the mat and takes up all the space, so I kick him out. But I've actually seen videos where pets do yoga, and I think it's so funny. We got Sydney, Australia. It would be 8 a.m. in the morning, I believe, in Australia. So that's early to join in. That's awesome. Vancouver, Illinois. So tonight's painting starts at 8 o'clock, but we'll give it a few extra minutes just for everyone to find me and get in here. And I know we have about 116 people watching right now, but I still see it increasing a bit. So we'll give it a few more minutes. There is something that I found out today, which is pretty cool. And I never knew, and you probably already knew this, but I didn't. So I think I'm just going to share it. If you, are on a computer watching this, then you'll see, if you're in full screen, there's like a little bell at the top. I know sometimes a lot of people say, how do we find your lives, or how do we, see you when you go live, just to follow along on these tutorials or find the replays. If you hit that bell while I'm live right now, then it will always notify you when I'm doing these live paint parties. So even if you're not able to join in and you want to see I'm doing one, so that you can watch the replay after, because I do always post a replay, just hit that bell at the top if you're on the computer. If you're on your phone, I think it should just be there, I believe. But if you're on your computer, it has to be in full screen for it to show. But yeah, so if anybody can't see the bell, let me know. But yeah, if you want to keep up with me going live, know when I'm going live, and just so you can see the replays, or even if you plan to catch me live and you want to make sure you can find me, then just hit that bell and it'll notify you, which I never knew that. So I guess I'm late to the game, but better late than never, I guess. Okay. So I am going to take 2 seconds and go through all the supplies. I see a few people asking what colors we need and about the supplies. So I'm going to go through that right now, and then we can start pretty soon. So for our colors tonight, I always say just get as close as you can, or you can do it completely different. I'm all up for creativity, so it does not have to be these colors. But what I'm using tonight is black, and then I have white. I'm using a butter yellow, which is more of a soft yellow. If you don't have a soft yellow and you have a darker one, you could always add white to it to make it soft, or you can make your sky more vivid. That's no problem. Tutti Frutti pink. It's kind of like a medium pink, so not too bright, not too dull, just in the center there. And then I have a cotton candy, which is light. And I have purple velvet, which is sort of a medium purple as well. So if you have anything close to these, your sky will be beautiful. If you wanted to switch it up, you can. You can do blues and turquoises or whatever you would like. So those are our paint color. Oh, and this one too. Sorry, I forgot about this one. My quinacridone magenta. That's like the main part of the sky. So this one is a bit of a deeper pink. And as you'll see here, I have different brand names. I have I believe three different kinds here. You can mix your acrylics. These are just different qualities. So this one's from the dollar store. It's very good if you're just starting out and you want to just watch your budget, but you want to be able to paint. And this, I've done many paintings with just the Dollar Tree brands, and they turn out perfect. Well, I don't know if I'd say perfect, but but good. And then this one here is kind of in the middle, I find. It's a little more expensive than the Dollar Tree, but it has a thicker consistency. So if you're looking for something that's going to maybe cover on the first, second coat, then this is, Folk Art is a good brand. And then I also have this one here, which is almost more, not quite a paste, but one step down. So this is even more expensive, and it's even better quality. You'll find also your pigments with this brand is going to be a lot more vivid than, let's say, the Dollar Tree brands. If you don't have magenta and you want any tips on how to make it, I don't know the exact calculations to get this exact color, but if you did like a darker pink and then added a tiny bit of red into it, you would get something similar. So you could do that. So then we have a paper plate, napkins, and a cup with water for our brushes. And then tonight, all I'm using is a 1/2 inch flat brush and a detailed brush. This is a number 3. You can go 3 or smaller, would be fine for that. So just those 2 brushes tonight. And I grabbed a blow dryer. I'm gonna try to not use the blow dryer and just kind of alternate so we don't hit our wet spots. But if you do have a blow dryer and you want to grab it, you can take 2 seconds and go grab it. I did not put it in the in description. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. So yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna give everyone a few more minutes just to pop on, and I will be right back in 1 second to start this tutorial. Okay. All right, so if you guys are ready to start, just give me a thumbs up and we'll start if everyone's got everything ready. I see we're pretty much capped off now. No one's really joining too much anymore. So, all right. Okay. So what we're going to do to start is, I'm going to turn that down there. You can see that okay. Pull it up a little bit. Okay. So what we're going to do first is we are going to do the background, and this is going to consist first of just some blending. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure when we're blending to put all our colors that we want to use, just because we want to make sure that the paint stays wet. So we're going to put all these colors on our plate first that we need. So that would be your magenta. If you do not have this, and you can go ahead and mix some pink and red and even maybe a little bit of purple in there. Just kind of mix it around and you'll see it's more of a deep pink. So anything close to that, you can put that on your plate. And then we are going to put our cotton candy on there. and our Tutti Frutti or medium pink. And our purple velvet. Okay, so you'll see right here now I have these three colors here, the magenta, the lightest pink, our medium pink, and our purple. And you'll see here what I mean about this being a little bit of better quality than these ones as it's a bit thicker. So what I tend to do is if I have paint that's a bit thicker, I will just add a little bit of water to my brush. So we're going to start with our flat, half-inch flat brush here. Okay, and we're just gonna dunk it in the water and then just kind of pat it off here just to get the bristles a bit damp. And we can go right into that darkest pink. We're gonna get a good amount on our brush here. When we're blending, we wanna have a large amount of paint on our brush because we want the canvas to stay wet for when we do color on top of color. That's how you're gonna get a real good blend. And we're just gonna go back and forth. So I am using both sides of my brush this way, and then when I go this way, I flip it, and then same, just back and forth. And if you find like it's not spreading too good, you can dunk your brush in a little bit of the water and then just go back over like this, and you'll find it starts to spread out a lot easier. And we're just going back and forth. We can go a little bit lower than what we want to so that when we bring the next color in, it will blend up a bit. I'm going about 2 inches thick so far with the magenta. And I'm just going back and forth. And then we're not gonna wash our brush for any of this blending. So you don't have to worry about washing your brush through any of doing the sky. We're just gonna go right into that medium pink. So you can see I still have the magenta on my brush. I'm just gonna scoop a big scoop of that medium pink there. And I'm just gonna go back and forth. And I'm going right on that line and even a little bit up. And just bring it all the way up. So you'll see the point here is to not really know where one color ends and the other one begins. You want it to be a gradual declining color, if you can see that. I don't know if there's too much of a glare because my paint's kind of wet still, but you'll see there's no defined line, and that's kind of what you want to go for. And how you're going to get that is just by having enough paint. If you find you have a line and you don't want to add more paint, then you can just, like I said, put a little bit of water on the tip of your brush, go over that line again, and you're going to see it, as you move up, you'll see it slowly go away. So now we're going to go right into our lightest pink. So once again, I'm getting a good amount of paint. Don't be shy with it. You can see it's pretty thick on there. And I'm just going to go across here. And you're going to see some of those darker pinks kind of mix in with this one, and that's okay. Because see, what's happening here is the harder we push with our brush, those paint colors that are kind of slowly moving down, the harder you push, the more of your brush you're going to use. So those colors are going to be incorporated into the next color. So if I go lightly, you'll see here it's just remaining basically the same. As soon as I push down hard, see, as I push down hard, you get that magenta color coming through. And then we just go over and kind of blend it in. And then we're going to do the same with the purple. We're going to go right in. Again, a nice big glob. And by now you should be about halfway through your canvas. So you'll see here, it's about in the middle. So that's where that purple spot's going to be. We just start a little bit lower. And then we work our way back up. We're just going over and over and over that line. And just grab a bit more purple if you need it. My purple is a bit thinner for this brand, so it's going to be a little more see-through than the other two. So you'll just see here, which for this painting, we're going to go over with some texture in the sky anyways. This is not as big of a deal as if we just wanted to keep an ombre effect. But you'll see here, there's just a little bit where you can see where the two are meeting. So I would just take a little bit. I just wiped off all the excess paint on my brush. I just dunk it in a little bit of water. And then I just go right back over that line. And you're going to see that fade. And I'm just pushing very lightly. And then I'm going to go back into that Tutti Frutti pink. In the background, I'm just going a little bit faster because we have to get these this blending done while it's wet. For the rest, after this is done, it will be, I can slow down and you can tell me when you're all ready. But whenever we're blending, we have to work a tiny bit quicker. And then we're just going to end again with that, the magenta color. We don't have to go right to the bottom for this because we are going to have this black coming in. So even if we just finish with this, even a couple, like an inch or so, like with about an inch of the canvas still showing, that's fine. So just continuing to go back and forth. And if you find like one of your colors is dominating the other, you can always just wipe your brush off and then go back over it again. That way you're taking that excess of that color off the brush. You can stick it in a tiny bit of water and then go over that spot again, and it won't dominate it anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a couple minutes to dry. I'll let everybody catch up. So I'm just going to take a second and just cut out my little yoga stencil here. If you don't have, we're not ready to do this yet, but if you do not have transfer paper or chalk where you can just transfer it basically onto the canvas, then you can just cut out the shape. Just cut out the shape of the yoga guy. So cut him out and then you can just trace him that way. If you do have transfer paper or chalk, then you can just leave them like this. But I didn't put transfer paper in the supply list because I figured for this specific kind of stencil, you could just cut out the shape of him and then just trace him. So I didn't want anyone to have to go out and buy anything extra for no reason. It's okay if you painted the whole page. That's no big deal at all. Just as long as it's dry before we continue on, then it's no problem. So if you do have a blow dryer with you, or if you had time to grab one, you could just take, mine's pretty much dry almost. I'm going to give it a couple extra seconds here. You could just take and blow dry it really quick if you find like yours is a bit too wet. Oh, that's nice, Donna. Donna said, I am here from Alabama. I don't have any electricity, but I can watch. AT&T gave us unlimited phone, text, and data for a few days to help out after the hurricane. Well, that's nice of them. Jeez. Wow. No, I provided a stencil. I provided this stencil. If you go under the event, you'll see that there is a stencil you can print out like this. If you are able to draw it, you can draw it too. I just provided a stencil for anyone who didn't want to draw it out. So this is actually printed. I printed it on my computer. So when you're done with your big brush, you can rinse it out. We are going to be using it again, but we'll need it clean for the next step. Yeah, so you should see it under, if you go to the event, the original event where you found this, And then if you go under the discussion, I posted the stencil. You can just, if you hit the link, you can just either download it or there'll be just an option to print from that page. Everybody's computer and phone is a bit different. So some people will have to hit the 3 dots on the side. They'll see print from there or download and then you can print. Or some people just get print as an option immediately. So either way, it's there. Hi, Michelle. So I'll quickly go over what we just did for anyone who just showed up, and then we'll move on to the next steps here. So all I started with was these colors on the plate. So we got magenta, our light cotton candy pink, we have our Tutti Frutti pink, and our purple velvet. And we just used our 1/2-inch flat brush, and I just started with the magenta into the Tutti Frutti, and then the cotton candy to the purple, back to the Tutti Frutti and magenta. So basically just switched it from top to bottom, and we just kind of blended the background out. How long did it take? When I painted this as an example, maybe an hour, but for me to teach it to everybody and everyone to be on the same page, it will probably take, I'm going to guess, around an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. But when you kind of know, when you just know you can go at it and you're not teaching anybody how to do it, it's a lot faster. So I just knew exactly what I wanted to do, so I just did it up super quick. Okay, so for anyone who's ready to move along, just throw me some thumbs up. If you haven't painted with me before, usually I just ask for a few thumbs up in between the steps, just so I know where you're at. That way I can have everybody on the same page and nobody's feeling too left behind. Okay, I'm seeing tons of thumbs up and hearts, so we'll get moving on. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're just, make sure your background is dry. So if you're not dry yet, give it a quick blow dry. We're going to put in some of these kind of colorful clouds here. I don't know, they're not really technically clouds, they're kind of just swirls, but we're going to put those in. So we're going to be using our 1/2-inch flat brush. And we can start with the purple here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit on my brush here. So I'm basically just using like a very tiny amount, and it's not even on the whole brush. As you can see, that side has none. It's basically just on that because we're going to be using it at a 45-degree angle like this and kind of sideways. So we're really only using this one edge of paint. And what we're going to do is, there's no specific spot you have to do this, so just pick a spot that you would like in your sky. And I'm just going to take and just kind of go sideways like this, just very lightly, back and forth. And just kind of make, just kind of like those little, like a little line here. So just very lightly back and forth. In the middle, I go up a little bit just to give it a little bit more thickness and kind of like it drifts off on the edges. So you'll see there, nothing too complicated. Excuse me. So we're going to go back in. And we're going to do the same thing kind of just over here a little bit. Just hit and miss, just very lightly, kind of almost tapping a little bit up and down as we go along. So some parts are tapping and then some parts we're kind of dragging the brush a bit. But we're not pushing down very hard. We're just kind of placing it there lightly. They're almost like drifts. Thanks, Michelle. She said, bless you. Yes, so that is, this is the purple we're doing this with. Oh, I see it's Isabella's birthday. Happy birthday. Awesome, glad you could join. Okay. So I'm just kind of, like I said, my purple is a bit on the thinner side, so I'm just building it back up a little bit. If your purple is showing through perfectly fine, then you don't need more than one coat, but I'm just gonna just lightly tap a little bit more on here, just so we can see. And then I'm going to bring a bigger one kind of just down in here a bit. And I'm just kind of right on the bottom edge, I kind of just kind of blend it in a bit, like it's going out. Just a little bit. This way it's not such a harsh line on the bottom. I do the same thing when I do white clouds. Just kind of, you know, make them look a little thinner on the bottom there. So then when we're done those ones, we can come right in with our magenta and kind of do the same thing. So I grab a little bit of the magenta here. And I'm just gonna go a little bit under this part here. So it's just kind of meeting up a bit, and then under, and I'll bring this one over a little bit more. Like I said, there's really no right or wrong where you're placing them. You just want to give a little bit of dimension to the sky. I'm going to do the same here. This is all being done just with the very edge of this brush here. Just on a 45-degree angle against the canvas. And you can add them anywhere you like. If you want to have them in a different spot, go ahead. If you want to have them a little bit lower. My paper wants to buckle tonight. It doesn't usually do that. And sometimes I'll even take, just so after I've washed my brush out a bit, I'll just take a little bit of water, just a tiny bit, and just kind of go like this on the bottom. And it kind of just makes it kind of blend in a little better, just along the bottom edge. So you'll see there, they're just kind of floating in the sky. My allergies are acting up tonight. I can feel them big time. you don't have to make the stencil if you can freehand draw the yoga person. But if you do want a stencil, I did provide one for you in the event. So if you just go to the event under discussion, you'll see there that I have a Dropbox link for everybody to do the stencil. But we still have a few minutes before we're putting the stencil on anyway, so you have lots of time if you want to go back and grab that. Okay, so we're just going to wash out that big brush again. We're still using it. It's going to be used for the majority of the painting. Christina says, how often do you do these sessions? I usually hold a session once a week. I would say 3/4 of them are free. I do have some I charge $10 for, but once you pay for, any ones you pay for, you get lifetime access. So you can paint it as many times as you want. You can have friends over. It's unlimited to you. You get access for $10 forever. So usually once a week. I do want to do it actually more than that. It's just I need my kids to go back to school first, just because there's zero time to get really anything done with homeschooling. So doing homeschooling all day and then doing all this plus planning at night, it gets to be quite a bit. So my goal though is once they go back to school, I would love to do this probably up to 3 times a week would be awesome. So Karen says, why can't you rewind the video? I don't know how you can rewind the video until it's considered a replay. If anybody knows the answer to that, feel free to answer in the comments, but I've only ever known that you could rewind once I replay it. I didn't know you can rewind when I'm live. So if you go onto my page under events, you will see all my future events. I have them all the way up to December right now. And then if you want to do past events, just go to videos on my Artisticris page and they will all be there. Or you can subscribe on YouTube to Artisticris and they're also all there as well. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to get some black on our plate. So we're going to get some black on there, and we're still using our 1/2-inch flat brush. And what we're going to create next is just this silhouette of the land down here. So we're going to start off with just worrying about the edge and how we want the edge to look. Now, if this doesn't turn out perfect the first time, the great thing with a silhouette is you can always just extend it out a bit more, and you can make it any shape you want. Now, I always suggest start smaller than bigger, because if you want to add or you want it to look a little bit different, you're going to start creeping up your page and pretty soon it's going to be too high. So start lower, kind of get a feel for it, and then you can always work your way up to making it even higher. So what we're going to do is just take our 1/2-inch flat brush and just put it in the paint. And I'm just going to tap it off on the side a bit just so it's not a whole bunch. And then we're going to start doing our line of our land here. So for me on this side, it's just a little bit under half. You'll see here, that's about half, and it's just a bit under. But you can always, like I said, start a bit lower. And we're just going to make that shape, kind of coming down and then going back up. So this does not have to be perfect by no means. We're just laying out the land right now. So right now we just kind of have that big spread out U shape. Yes, Karen, you can see all these videos again under videos on my page. They're all saved there. Or you can find me on YouTube under Artisticris, and they will be there for you too. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, right now we didn't really worry about the lumps and the bumps of the land. If you see this one here, it kind of looks like it's a bit rocky. We kind of just did a U so far. But now we can kind of go in, now that we at least have it laid out where we want it, we can go in and just kind of put little bumps and lumps here. So how you would do that is just kind of bump your brush up a little bit and then go down and back up. And it kind of just makes the edge not look so smooth. Plus, once we add in these highlights, it's going to look even more bumpy. And then I left the bottom a little bit more smooth so that when the yoga lady sits in there, or the yoga guy, they have kind of a land to sit on. And then I just come back up. And really I just kind of move my brush up and down here and there, and it makes it look a little bit more rocky. Okay, and then we're just going to color that in black. And just make sure that your paint behind is dry, or you'll start to get a blend with that pink. I find when I get closer to an edge, I always tend to turn my flat brush the other way. So right now I have a wide open space and I'm just using the full width of my brush, just like that. But as soon as I start to get closer where I don't want to accidentally make a mistake, I turn my brush the skinny way, and then I just kind of get in closer there, and that helps to not go over your spot. And when you're done that, you can wash out that brush again. And I'm just going to go quickly change my water because the black always destroys it. If you have to do a water change, go ahead. And I'll give everyone a couple seconds just to catch up on that there. Okay, I'm back. So just once again, just give me some thumbs up. Let me know you're ready to move on. And if you need a few more minutes, let me know. I always like to keep the communication going just because I can't see everybody. So I don't want anyone to feel rushed. Okay, we're getting a couple thumbs up here. I'll give it another minute just to wait and see a few more. I didn't put white on the black yet. Right now it's just the black. Down here, I just do a little bit of the pink, but we didn't get there yet. It's got to be completely dry before we can put anything that's layering on it because it'll just smear. Well, thanks, Linda. I appreciate the compliment. I always try to be fun. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little too goofy, but that's who I am, so that's how she goes. Yes, so there will be a replay under videos on my page. So if you just go on my page, Artistic Chris, under videos, you'll see all the replays. Okay, so I'm seeing quite a few thumbs up. So what we're going to work on next is making the moon here. Now, if you have something small and you want to trace a little circle, you can do that. I'm going to freehand it. This one I think I did trace, but I'm just going to freehand it. And it's just about halfway through the page here. So if you hold up, if you do have a yoga stencil here, a yoga guy, and you hold it here, you'll see that you kind of want the moon to be behind his head and his or her head and hands here. So however big, I mean, if you printed this out, they should all be the same size as mine, but right about there, you can kind of measure. Okay, so we're just going to use our pointed detail brush for this, and we're going to get some white on our plate. Are you using the multimedia paper? Is that what you're using, Tina? So this is what I have here. I know someone had asked me earlier and I forgot to answer you. This is what I have here. So I use this Canson mixed media. Mine's 11 by 14. You can get different sizes. I get mine off of Amazon, but I've heard you can get it at Walmart as well. So that's what I'm using. So what I'm going to do is I have the white here. I'm just going to take my pointed detail brush and just put a little bit on the end. And then I am just going to do a little circle. Now, like I said before, you can start a bit smaller. If your moon is going to end up getting too big, then that's not good either. So just start a little smaller, and you can always add more to the outside. And just kind of do a little circle here. So I always suggest keeping your finger on your surface so that your hand's not shaky. And just move your fingers when you're doing this, not your whole arm. So you can even go half and half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the middle. I know right about here is where my person's head and hands are. So I'm just going to go and just do a rough circle, just so we can get size here. And that's what we'll have there, just like that. And then just make sure your large brush is washed off really good from that black. And you can come in with a little bit of white on there. I'm just going to wash my brush out extra good. I don't want to have a gray moon. And I'm just going to put a little bit on there. And I'm just going to color it in. So we're just getting our first coat on here. There's going to be a couple different coats. We're going to put some yellow. Don't worry about it being perfect right now because we are going to add the layers. Acrylic's never perfect with just one layer. And we're just filling that in there. Just like that. And you'll see here, like on the outside, there's a little bit sticking out on the outside, and that's okay because the moon has a glare. So we're going to put a little bit of lit clouds in with the moon, but, or maybe it's the sun. I don't know if the sun, I think maybe the sun's coming up. She's doing yoga early, so it's the sun. I take that back. So the sun glaring, we're going to see a little bit of that glare. So don't worry about it being a complete clean edge. I don't know, what do you guys think? Is this a sunset or the sun rising? I don't know now. I didn't really think about it when I painted it. I just wanted to have it there. How did you perceive it when you first saw it? So I'm still just touching mine up a bit, just making it go a little more circular. And I'm using very, very small amount of paint. I don't want it to be caked on too thick. Okay, one person says moon, we got sunset, we got sunrise. Okay, so we have a good mix. So I don't feel too bad about not really knowing what I was painting, I guess. That's funny. I don't know how I see it now. I think I see it as, I feel like I see it as the sun setting and they're kind of just on the beach, like just, you know, at night, just before night hits, I guess. But yeah, I can also see how it would be coming up and it would be early morning as well. So sunrise has more orange shades. That's a good point too. Okay, then we got it's rising because it's high in the sky. Sunset would be lower. Oh, that's funny. No debating. We're not having a debate. Debating scares me. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to put a little bit of that butter yellow on our plates. And we're going to just put a tiny bit on our brush and we're going to go back into that moon and just do our sun, and do half of it just kind of lightly with yellow, just bringing that yellow in. I'm going to move it closer so you can see what I'm doing. And you're going to be touching very lightly because this paint's still going to be a tiny bit damp from just doing it. Although acrylic does dry super fast, but we're just going to barely be touching it. And just on one half here. So you'll see you're just bringing a little bit of yellow into there. You can always zap it with a quick blow dry too if you feel like it's too wet. If it is wet at all, do not push hard because it will take that bottom layer right off. So we just want to touch it very lightly. Stephanie says it's whatever you want it to be. That's exactly true. Exactly. Okay, and then what we're gonna do from there on is we're gonna be putting these clouds kind of into the moon. So we're doing the same thing that we did with these ones. We're just grabbing a little bit of that light yellow, and we're just going lightly, just tapping a bit, and just kind of bringing it a bit in front of the moon, or sun. Not too much, but just a little bit. We're just going to give it a couple on each side. And you can hit it and then miss a bit and then come back in, kind of like they're like leaving, separating a bit. And I have a very small amount of paint on my brush, so you don't want to have too much. And then I'm going to come right in with the white, and I'm going to do just kind of the same thing, just around in there a bit, just kind of tapping. You can really do these wherever you want. This one is a little bit different than this one. When you do freehand, things turn out a bit different. I never really do the same exact painting twice unless I'm doing it with everybody, but even this one turns out a bit different. Sometimes we can paint the same thing, but we're in a different mood, and then it turns out different. So there's no right or wrong here, just whatever you feel. Just kind of put it on there. We're just having fun tonight. So that's what we have so far. Just let me know when you're ready, and we'll go on and we'll make some palm trees and a little bit of these, kind of like a bush there, I guess. Some wild greenage, although it's black because it's a silhouette. What's everybody drinking tonight? I have Fruitopia tonight. I don't usually drink juice, so this is a bit different for me. Usually I'm a tea person and I always drink tea because it's relaxing while I'm painting, but tonight I just felt thirsty and you can't really chug tea, so I got my Toronto Raptors cup, my favorite basketball team. Don't overthink your moon too much. if it's getting bigger and bigger, just stop and just kind of work with what you have. Don't worry about it being perfect on the edges. It's a work in progress. So you'll see here, if you look at mine close, it's not completely clean on the edges. You can see that I went out of the lines, and that's okay. If you keep fixing it, then it is eventually going to get super big. Although there's nothing that says that a super big moon in this painting wouldn't be pretty, so don't overthink it too much. Don't stress about it. Just work with what you have. We've got ginger tea. Oh, I like ginger tea a lot. Water and fruit punch. What's an Angry Orchard? I never heard of that. Is that an alcoholic beverage? Some herbal tea? Yes, it is very relaxing. That's why I usually combine the two, but like I said, I just felt really thirsty today. All right, so what we'll do is we'll move on to making our palm trees. This video the replay will stay up for a long time on here. And if you missed it on here for some reason, you can catch it on YouTube under Artistic Chris as well. I keep those ones up all the time. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our detail brush here and we are going to do some palm trees. So we're going to break this down so it's super simple, step by step. So all we are going to worry about, first of all, is just placing 2 lines on this page. And that's going to be where we want our trunks to be. So just a simple line. We're just going to dunk our brush in. Actually, I'm going to hold on to this here. And once again, make sure that wherever you're putting your hand, it isn't wet, but just kind of keep your hand down there and on the surface, and then you're just going to take, and we're just going to draw a thin line, or paint it, I should say, and kind of bring it up and over. It doesn't have to be straight or anything right now. You can fix that after. I'm just going to kind of bring it up and over a little bit. So just kind of like that on an angle. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one, but the opposite way. And it's going to be a little bit shorter. Just kind of bring it up there. So we'll have just 2 lines that are not straight. They're not perfect. They don't even really look good right now at all, and that's okay. So that's what we're working with right now. Well, we got a lot of good drinks going on here. I'm so boring with my juice. Yeah, yes, Ruth, I'm on YouTube, just under Artistic Chris, just like my Facebook page. You'll find me there with all my past tutorials up. Okay, so we just have those 2 lines. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to come in, and if you see this one here, you'll see there's little bumps on the one side of each facing out. So that's how we're going to thicken it up, is we're just going to come in and we're just going to do little tiny bumps on the one side. So I'm just doing that, you'll see there, with my pointed brush. I'm just doing like little hills. And as you get higher up, you're going to make those hills smaller because your trunk is getting smaller. So we'll start with bigger ones, and then as we work our way up, they are going to get tinier. I'm going to do that for both trunks on the opposite side. So you'll see here, I now have one that looks like that. And then I'm going to do the opposite side here on this shorter palm tree. So that's what we have now. You can see they're starting to form more of a shape and look a lot better. Okay. And so what we're going to do from there is we're only going to worry about working on the stems of our palm trees. So you'll see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on mine coming out. This smaller one, I only have 6. So we're going to work right from the top of that point that we have, and we're just going to bring one down like that, and then a little bit more up. We got another one here. And if these aren't perfect, don't worry. They're going to be covered up anyways with our leaves. And then I have one coming straight up like this, but kind of on a curve. Another one. And then we're coming back down here. And another one here. So that's what we have so far. And we're going to do that with the other one. So just shorter ones, not as big. 2. I have one pretty much straight up here. And then 3 little ones. So I'll show you closer here. So that's what we have. They don't look very good right now. Right now they look like dead palm trees. We're going to bring them back to life. This is not a Halloween painting. Okay, so any excess paint you have on that small brush, you can just clean it off. We'll start fresh here. A lot of the times the paint will move down your brush. And if you're going for fine lines, that can mess you up. So it's okay when you're blending, but when you're doing fine lines or anything like that, you want to make sure you have a clean brush. This class will end about another half an hour, I'd say. Half an hour or less. We're not too far out. If you have to go, though, or anything, you can always catch the replay and then just finish it up. So don't feel like you have to stay if you have plans or anything like that. Okay, so this is where we're going to start to form these leaves here. And this is where the palm tree really starts to look pretty. So we're going to just still use the black with that pointed brush. And we're just going to have a little bit on our tip there. And we're going to start with this first one here. And we're just going to take, and we're going to be flicking down and kind of on an angle. So I'm going to bring this closer so you can see. So we're going to start bigger, and then as we get to the tips, we're going to get a bit smaller, right? So we're just going to start here and kind of just give it a quick flick, like that. And if we need more paint, then we put more. And we just flick really lightly all the way down, and we do it on the tip too. So there's one coming off of the tip there. So you'll see that's one side there. And then we are going to do the same thing on the opposite side for this one, because when we're looking at this tree, that specific branch is falling where we can see both sides. So we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it opposite on the other side, and we're going to come flip it the other way and come down all the way to the point. And don't worry if you're hitting this top branch here. We're not going to worry about it right now. We're just going to worry about this one branch and just keep flicking. And you'll see there that makes the one palm tree branch with the leaves. And we're going to continue that process. So for the next one, we're not going to do both sides, because the weight of this tree, the branch is going to fall, right? So technically those that are higher, they're not going to be sticking straight up. Naturally, gravity is going to take over. The branches on the other side, or the leaves on the other side, sorry, are going to be wrapping around, right? So we're just going to take and we're going to do this side here all the way to the end. And we're just going to leave that. We're not going to put anything up top. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. It's still leaning over that way, so naturally those are going to be falling down this way a bit, right? Just because the whole tree is leaning this way, everything's going to be heavier on this side. So that's how we want to perceive it. And we're just going to do the exact same thing, just keep flicking. And the point here is just to have paint on the tip of the brush. You don't want to be pushing down too hard. I'm pushing very lightly, and I only have paint at the end. I don't have it all the way. That's the only paint I'm using, is just on the tip there. So you'll see that coming in really nicely. If you get an excess amount of paint on the brush as you're doing this, wipe it off and then start fresh again. So now, as we're working this way, we're going to be doing both sides of this branch, because the tree's leaning this way. It's naturally going to be popped up a bit. We're going to see both sides. So we're going to stick with the shape of the branch though, and we're going to flick this way first on top. And then we're going to go back the other way on this side. And I literally am just picking a spot along that line here, that's my guideline, and I'm just putting my brush down and flicking out. So every time I flick out, I lift the pressure off my brush. And that's how we're getting those wispy ends. So for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. And then as we hit these two, we're just going to pop a little bit of that branch up. It's not, or that, sorry, those leaves up. It's not going to be full leaves because they are kind of falling over. So the top parts are going to be just little flicks, nothing too crazy. And then when we do the bottom part, they're going to be longer. And then you'll have your palm tree there. So you'll see how it was a process from a simple line and we broke it down into simple steps. So a lot of the times I'll say, don't give up too early. A lot of times you'll just, like, say you draw the line and then you do those sticks for the branches and then you're like, this looks so bad, like so hideous. But just the smallest step extra kind of makes acrylics pop. So when I first started painting, I'd give up too early, and I realized that was one of my biggest mistakes, was I wasn't layering enough, or I wasn't layering thin enough layers, or I wasn't adding, you know, I was trying to do it all in one instead of break it down and kind of make it easier for myself. So that's why when I teach everybody to do this, I kind of teach the mistakes that I made along the way so that you can see how when I break down the process, it's actually a lot simpler than sometimes we make it. And so we're just going to go to the small one, and we're going to do the same thing. So just obviously with littler leaves, smaller leaves. And there we have our two palm trees. I'll give everyone a few seconds to catch up on that there. Make sure you have them like you want them. Does anybody have plans for Halloween? Me and my daughter yesterday, we packed up 80 like candy bags, and we're gonna do this big scavenger hunt. We have kind of a medium-sized to larger size backyard, so we're gonna do a huge scavenger hunt with these 80 bags of candy. They're having one friend over, my daughter and my son. They're having one friend over to do this hunt with, and it's a little bit of a different Halloween just because I'm not really sure how comfortable I feel with the trick-or-treating. So I figured instead of stress about it, we can just make fun in other ways. So we packed up these bags of candy and we had fun doing that. And then I'm going to go hide them with my husband all over the backyard. In our garage, we have a shed. We actually have 2 sheds. And make a fun night. Then we're going to go do the same thing at Grandma's house. And then we're going to come back and watch a scary movie. Well, not too scary. I have a 8 and 4-year-old, but scary for them. And then once they are in bed, then me and my husband are going to watch the second It, because we haven't seen it yet. We saw the first one in theaters, but we didn't get to see the second one in theaters because COVID hit. So, yeah. So that's our plans. Oh, Denise says, Chris, I tuned in late. I just started painting with you about a month ago. Or I just started painting about a month ago. Watched you and your daughter paint a couple weeks ago. Yeah, she loves doing that. That's our parent and me paint days. We have a couple more coming up. One for the American Thanksgiving, and then one for Christmas. But I think we might throw a couple more in there. We'll see. Eugenia says, watch Coco. Is Coco a scary movie? I never heard of that one. Ooh, drive-through haunted neighborhood here in South Orange County. Oh, cool. Halloween, another trick-or-trunk drive-through, and glow-in-the-dark party with just us. That's awesome. Yeah, we can make our own fun. As I said, COVID's not going to stop our fun. We'll still have fun. Yeah. It may not be the tradition, but maybe we'll find a new tradition that we like even more. We'll see. So, okay. So, if everyone's good with your palm trees, just give me some more thumbs up. And then we'll work on doing a little shrubbery here. And then we can put our person in and make a little bit of highlights here. So just let me know with thumbs up if you're ready. The stencil is going to be done last, just because we want to make sure our background is completely dry. Okay. I see lots of thumbs up happening. I even see I think it's a rock out sign. I wish I could rock out right now. I'd love to have some music on. I wish Facebook would let us have music. But then I'd probably be dancing the whole time instead of painting. So it's probably for the best. And then I wouldn't have any viewers. So, okay. So we are going to work on this little shrubbery down here. So we're still sticking with our small brush. And we're going to go into the black. Okay. Sorry, I got carried away reading comments. Okay. So we are just going to come up with our small brush, and we're just going to make a couple main lines. So there's nothing right or wrong about this. Just put your brush down and just kind of go up. It doesn't have to be straight. They can be kind of wiggly. And just make a few main ones here. And then we can work off of those. So this is nothing that's too intricate here. We just have a couple that come off of those original ones a few different ways. Just like that. Yes, Kristen, there's going to be a replay. So as soon as I'm done this video, I'm going to replay it, and it'll be under videos on my page. And I'll try to post it to YouTube as soon as possible as well. That I'm not as quick on as just hitting replay, but by the weekend, I'll try to have it up. And I hope everybody stays healthy, Kristen. That's the most important. So just take care of yourself, and then you can come back and paint this. It'll be up for a while. Okay, so once we're done our little shrubs, we're going to go and we're going to work on just putting a little bit of texture down into here. So we are going to go back with our 1/2 inch flat brush. And I just used some of that Tutti Frutti pink, or like the medium pink, and we're just going to tap the one side in. So you'll see it's very light, and I'm actually going to tap it even off more than that. So you just want it to be so light that when you tap it back on your plate, it's hardly coming off. You can see the bristles through that. That's how we're going to get, we don't want to have a solid line. We want to have it kind of hitting and missing. You want to see the strokes of your brush bristles. So then we're going to come in here very, very light-handed, and we're just going to follow the curve here and there of the shape of this landscape. So I'm coming in very lightly, and then if you find like it's not coming off enough, you can push a little harder, but you'll see here, that's what we want. So just a very subtle amount. We're going to keep going across here, back up. And we can do that a couple times, a little bit lower. So if you find it's a little light, you can even bring a little more in here. You can always, I mean, when it's on black, it's easy to get rid of because you could just paint the black silhouette again, let it dry, and try again if it doesn't work out. But it's always easier just to start with a little bit of paint. You can always work up with more. And I'm just going to put a couple in here a little lower, just so it kind of looks like the land still goes on, has kind of grooves. And you can move your brush the skinny way just to kind of give it not so, not such thick grooves here. And that's where we kind of get some dimension in. Now, if I had too much paint on my brush, we would just have a big blob of pink. So like I said, very, very light. Almost where it might be too light. If you think it's too light, it's probably perfect. Yeah, this is with the Tutti Frutti, the medium pink. If you did magenta or you did the lightest pink, it's not going to make or break the painting. The whole point is we just want to add a little bit of depth in by putting highlights so that we can see around the highlights it looks like it's kind of like caving in and going in, and there's, you know, there's a little bit of texture to the ground. It's not just flat. So any color you choose is fine. It's more important that it's just on lightly rather than the color. But I just chose the medium pink. If you did a different color, that's no problem. So I'll move it closer here so you can see. And you'll see it just kind of adds some bumps and stuff in there to the ground. Okay. So what we are going to do next is the stencil. So you have a couple different ways of doing this. If you have transfer paper, you can just use that and we can trace it on, and when we lift it up, the transfer paper will be left where we've traced it, and you'll see the yoga person. If you don't have transfer paper, you could, if you have colored, or even white chalk, because this is all colored now, if you have white chalk, you could color the back, and then put this down like this and trace it, and just your chalk will be left when you lift it up. So it works exactly like transfer paper. You're just making the actual paper you're using into transfer paper. So you could do that, or if you have neither, you can cut it out exactly the shape it is, and then you can just stick it on and trace around it with a pencil or a pen, or even if you wanted to use your fine pointed tip brush if you don't have a pencil or a pen. So there's many options there. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I have transfer paper here. So just make sure everything is completely dry, which mine already is. If not, give it a quick blow dry. And then we're just going to, now normally I would say this is a pretty small thing we're tracing. So I'm just going to put it there and then I'm going to trace it. Normally I would say if it was bigger to put a little piece of tape, and then when you lift this and stick this under, this won't move. And you'll be safe to know that it's placed in the right spot. But I'm not going to tape it tonight because I'm just going to make a guess here. And we're just going to trace this on here like that. And then as soon as you go over this line, it will be there. Or we all hope it will be there. Nothing's falling here. Okay. So you'll see there, the transfer paper just left me my little yoga person. I'm trying to move this up a bit. It fell down a bit when I was doing that. And then what we can do is just go in with, I'm going to use I have a size 3 pointed brush, so it holds quite a bit of paint. And I'm just going to paint that in. If you had a small flathead brush, you could use that as well. I didn't bring one in here tonight, but... Also, if for some reason you didn't get the stencil printed out, you could always leave this step and then just go get your stencil, put it on, and then just paint it in black. And that's really the last step to this painting. So if you didn't get it printed and you don't want to freehand it, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll just kind of outline first and then paint it in. It kind of helps that paint to stay in a bit better once it's outlined. Carol says my trees look like scared sticks. If you don't have the stencil, Karen, you can get the stencil under the event and discussion. I have it up there for everybody. You can go back and get that and just put it on, print it out and put it on. So I think that is everything except for, don't forget to sign your initials or your name at the bottom. And feel free to share this with me. I always put everybody's paintings up. So I always put them up on my page. I also have a page called Created to Create with Artisticris where we share all our artwork. So feel free to join that as well. My next event, I'll show you my next event that's going on, if I can find it here. My next event, I believe, is this Thursday coming up. I think it's a week from now. This is my Just Breathe fundraiser. So this event is $15. It's for a lady who has been diagnosed with cancer for a second time. So I'm holding a fundraiser for her. If we can reach over 40 people, I'm going to donate half the money. And $5 from every ticket is going towards their family, but I would gladly donate more if I can get more than 40 people or more. So right now we're just a little bit over 25, I think. So that's that. I'm going to put in the description when I'm done here. I'm going to put a link to this event if you are interested in checking it out and helping out a family. I met this lady at a local paint night, a fundraiser I did for the Kidney Foundation. So it's kind of funny how things go in turn, but a wonderful lady and family, and definitely does not deserve to be going through this. So any way I could help out, I would love to. If you would like to help too, I'll put the link in the description. I'll pin it to the top, and you can check that out. I believe that's next Thursday. And like I said, if you can't make it that night, but you want to help out, you get lifetime access to this painting. So you can do it anytime with your friends and family. And this is her favorite saying, just breathe. So that's why we chose to go with that. But anyways, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I see someone posted in the comments the stencil. So anybody who doesn't have the stencil can just go right there in the comments, and somebody did it for me. So thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody, and I'll definitely be seeing you hopefully for future paint nights. And like I said, you can send me your picture, you can put it in the comments below, and then I'll do like this little train of pictures, and everybody just loves to see everyone's creations. So I hope you had fun, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much.